Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, March 23rd, 2015. Of course, the last Raw before Wrestlemania. Live from Los Angeles tonight at the Staples Center. Now, before I go any further in my review, I want to give a shout out to another YouTuber on here that does wrestling videos who's a pretty cool guy. I recently did a podcast with this guy this past Friday. You can watch it on his channel. And this YouTube user is named WWE Analyst. He invited me to do a podcast with him previewing WrestleMania, and I enjoyed it. It took place this past Friday. He's a really cool guy. He's very insightful like me, and he likes my videos. I'd like to thank him for letting me go on. Even though he didn't want me to thank him, I have to. I'm a gracious guy. And the podcast went so well. I will be doing a live podcast with him on Sunday after WrestleMania with another user, the I think his name is Rant, the Rantler, the Ranter. The username is Rant, but I think his real name is Rant. So I'm gonna be doing a podcast with them on W Analyst's channel this Sunday after Mania. So stay tuned for that on his channel. The link for his channel is in the description of this video. So check him out. He's a cool guy. I like his stuff. I'm glad he lets me do stuff with him. But now on to the last Raw. Go home before Mania. Yes, the hype's not been there because half the guys are part-timers. And they showed up tonight, besides Taker, to hype up their matches. And I thought, well, tonight, being a go-home show, was decent tonight. You had two really good matches, including main event. The last segment should have been better, in my opinion. You know, we had a showdown between Reigns and Lesnar. I thought it should have been differently. Should have ended differently. But I'll tell you why I think that in a second or two. Plus, we had, of course, last time we cameos because in LA, you had Snoop Doggy Dogg. At least he didn't perform like Wiz Khalifa did. So, yeah, for not performing. But we all going to have a performance at Mania, though. I'll give you comments about that in a little bit in this video, too. But these are fun Mania. And we're all heading towards Mania. You know, it's a decent Raw. You know, fun. You know, for hyping up Mania, they did a decent job after lack of it. Some segments should have been more exciting. Like the opening and the closing segment should have been more exciting. But what can you do? They don't want to risk injury. So let's kick off with the opening segment of Raw, which involves Sting speaking for the first time on Raw, because he's been on Raw. I think he's been on Raw a couple of times, including last week, appearing at the end of the scheduled main event between Owen and Rollins when he kind of helped Owen out against the Authority. He spoke on the network, but tonight he spoke in person in the ring on Raw. And I did like this segment, though. I wish they had a real fight, but still, this segment was pretty interesting. With Sting coming out saying that this is what happens when you're on Raw. You know, lively crowd on Raw. That's how you kick off Raw. And I've seen you, Triple H, take your ascension to the top of the throne in the WWE. But I'm here for one reason, to take you down. Cue up Stephanie McMahon's music coming out. Now, this is intriguing, seeing Stephanie come out to face off against Sting. We haven't seen these two interact with each other at all. So it's kind of intriguing to see Stephanie kind of give the label to throw us back down to Sting. Saying, Sting, basically, you're a big shark in a little pond. That was WCW. You're a loyal soldier. Thank God they didn't call him Vigilante today, but they called him the loyal soldier. The last holdout from WCW to come through to the shark-infested waters of WWE. That's what Stephanie said. You were a big shark in a little pond. Now you're like a minnow in a shark-infested pond that is the WWE. And she said, basically, Sting, you are a freak. That's what you are. Stephanie tried to slap Sting. Sting grabbed her hand. Cue Triple H's music, coming out furious that Sting would even threat at all to put his hands on his wife. So he took the jacket off. He got into the ring with Sting. Stephanie got on the side of the apron that didn't have the LED apron, which I did like. They used it in NXT, but to see him use it on WWE programming on the main roster, interesting. So Stephanie pulled out the sledgehammer. Sting pulled out the bat. He's like, come on, Triple H, come on. You know, Sting tried to get Triple H to goad him into brawling, and then Triple H just escaped out of the ring, seeing Sting with that bat. Didn't want no part of it. I wish there was still a physical, like a real fight. We saw that at Fastlane, I know that. But this was still an interesting segment, though. To hype up the match at Mania. You know, And Triple H's promos were decent. The Booker T one was unnecessary, but it did serve a purpose, even though I didn't know what that purpose was. But still, Provy has control, blah, blah, blah. So we shall see how these two face up on Sunday. I said this on the podcast with the WWE analyst guy. I don't think Sting, after waiting 14 years to come to WWE, he will not lose his first match. And I hope it ends clean, though. I don't want Stephanie to I bet you Stephanie will be in the corner. And if she looked as hot as she did when she accompanied Triple H last year against Daniel Bryan, God, because she looked hot in that suit last year. I was watching with a bunch of friends, and my friends like, I'd fuck her. If seriously, she needs to look. She looked hot at WrestleMania. She looked hot at SummerSlam. Seriously, she does. She looks stunning now. She's always looked stunning. And at OH to look that good, damn. If she wears a suit like she did at Mania, it'd be hot to see that again. If she accompanies Triple H to the ring this time, like she did last year. A lot of tag team matches tonight. Hey, it's before Mania, so we'll see you guys some injury. We would see 4 of the 7 guys to compete in the ladder match this Sunday. We would see Dean Ambrose teaming up with R-Truth to take on Stardust and Luke Harper with Ben Barrett at ringside. With the IC Championship belt back on his way, of course, we claimed the trophy that is the IC title belt last week on Raw during a 6-man tag. So this is a regular tag. It was a decent tag heading towards the big. That's one of the matches I'm definitely looking forward to. Ladder match. It's overcrowded, yes, but you know what? It's oddly numbered. I wish it was an even number. It's 7 right now. I wish it was 8. But at least to make it even. But still, I bet it'd be a fun match to watch. With Ambrose kind of got isolated in the corner a lot with some big boots from Harper in and out of the ring. He just got annihilated most of the match. It was like isolated by Stardust and Harper, isolating him in the corner. Until we get the hot tag to R-Truth coming with the House of Fire, just taking him down with the big DDT moves. And Ambrose got in the ring, got involved. Doing that, he got the Lunatic French clothesline Harper over the floor. And Stardust got hit with the what's up from Truth and the 1-2-3 victory for Truth and Ambrose. Of course, this would be the last you would see any of these guys tonight, as the other competitors would face off in a match tonight in our final match on Raw, Daniel Bryan against Dolph Ziggler, with a special guest referee to be voted on by the fans. We'll get to another fan-voted match in a second. Now we went from a regular tag to a 10-man tag. 10 competitors who were brawling out for the Andre the Giant Invitational Battle Royal trophy. We had the Ascension. This is a weird team. The Ascension, Miz and Mizdow, and Adam Rose. Awkward team. Taking on the Primetime Players, who's been getting the upper hand on the Ascension for the last couple weeks on Raw and on Main Event. Also, Zack Ryder, get to see him. He was trending. I love Ryder, man. He's a great worker. He's loyal. Even though he's been through a lot, he's still loyal to WWE. Like Sting was to WCW, but different because Zack's kind of a jobber. Not tonight, though. Also in there, we had Eric Rowan, and I told WWE analyst my pick for the Battle Royal, Ryback. He should have got a bigger push, though. I thought he was going to go for a title one against Rusev, but it died down after he got storyline fired back in January. And Stardust should at least wrestle Goldust. WWE analyst, I'm sorry to bring up his podcast, but he asked me what would make this Mania better. I should have said having Stardust wrestle Goldust. I wish they had a match at Mania instead of at Fastlane. It was kind of a stupid ending with referee miscounting. And I'm sad that Goldust is retiring this year and they won't have that brother versus brother match they should have had at Mania this year. WWE mishandled them again. They mishandled mostly everything. But still, down to a 10-man tag here. With Ryder getting some good moves in. Apparently he and Adam Rose are starting a feud. Adam Rose was pussing out a couple of times when Ryder got in there. Rose came up from behind. Then the Ascension got in. Started beating the crap out of Ryder. And then Mizdow goes, we got a lot of "We want Mizdow" chants. And he got in. He got some moves into Miz, kind of forced him to make the tag because he's a personal assistant. I also predicted there'll be some sort of confrontation between Miz and Mizdow. I guarantee you, Mizdow will turn at WrestleMania. There'll be some sort of physical thing with Miz and Miz Dow at Mania. I smell it. I smell it. They'll get some sort of, like, Miz will eliminate Miz Dow, or Miz Dow will eliminate Miz. One of them is eliminating each other to finally prove Miz Dow is breaking free from Miz. The turn's happening at Mania. It's been a long wait for the turn to finally happen, but I think it'll happen at Mania. Even though it's going to be part of the Under the Giant Battle Royal, still, better late than never. So then after Miz got in, after forcing Miz Dow's hand, literally forcing his hand to tag him in, the decent tag-man tag, we would see Ryback get the tag in. Beat the crap out of Miz for a little bit. And then the Ascension would get in, try to double team on Ryback. Then he get a nasty clothesline to both of them. And Miz now got a big meat hook clothesline. Damn, the impact he took. He flipped like 360 degrees and landed gingerly on his neck. I was like, damn, what the impact. Because his meat hook clotheslines are always vicious and always hard hitting. But that one on Miz was just, as Michael Cole would say, he had a little mustard in that one. And then, of course, the shell shot and 1-2-3 victory for Ryback and his team. Looking really good, getting momentum on his side, heading towards Mania, when all these guys are in the Under the Giant Battle Royal. Second year in a row. Or as I like to call this match, the payday match. It's like, hey, we're not in a match of Mania, we still want a payday. So this is like the payday match. Now on to our next occasion. Randy Orton will take on a member of the Authority. Or in this case, members of the Authority, as the WWE app, which didn't get as much shilling as the network did. He would have to take on a member of the Authority, but the fans would choose from the app. It was between Kane, Big Show, or J Security and Seth Rollins. Obviously, they picked Seth Rollins. Of course, we know Rollins and Orton would face up at Mania. So we didn't see a lot of these two in the match, like, against each other. Like, Rollins decided, like, I want a piece of you, Orton. And he's like, I'm not taking you. Kind of like that. Because Orton's like, I want you, Rollins. But instead of walking it, J Security, but basically left to be fed to the wolf. Or in this case, led to be fed by the Viper himself, Randy Orton. Double Hangman DDT. And he was going for the RKO. He was like in the position, kneel down, which gave Rollins an opportunity to sneak up from behind to do a cup stomp. Orton saw that from a mile away, chased his ass around the ring, coming back in and giving RKO to JB Noble in a 1-2-3 victory for Randy Orton in this handicap match. So there you go. Now on to our next matchup. Very intriguing heading towards Mania. Nikki Bella and Brie Bella, Bellatrix, will of course team up against AJ and Paige at Mania. We will see if AJ and Paige even get along after seeing the results of this match, as Paige would challenge Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship after Nikki put on an open challenge to either AJ or Paige to set up a little dissension between those two. And as we would see, the strategy would work. Now, we saw Paige against Nikki a couple weeks ago on Raw, and it was a decent match, even though it ended with a disqualification, which was setting up AJ's return. So tonight, after the trend we've seen lately is give Divas a chance in longer Divas matches, and they've been really good Divas matches, you know, on Raw and Main Event, because I was at the SmackDown taping a few weeks ago in Detroit, and that live report of the taping is on this channel when I was in Detroit a couple weeks ago, and it was Naomi against AJ, Naomi against Nikki, and it was a good match. It was a good match. It was long too, and this match was really good. Probably one of the best Divas matches on Raw in a long time. I love AJ and Nikki last week, but Paige and Nikki tonight, it didn't end with a DQ unlike the last time, and it went really long. It was really good. The crowd was getting into it though. It was a fun match, and I'm glad there was not a lot of interference from Nikki's sister Brie in this match. Although they did get involved in the ending of the match. But it was a fun match. And it was like really back and forth. Because the Divas on the main roster is kind of feeling a little bit jealous of NXT Divas getting longer time to have really competitive matches. That's what it's all give Divas a chance thing's been trending. Which it deserves it. And Nikki's not the best wrestler in the world, but she looked pretty good tonight. And both Paige and Nikki looked pretty good tonight. Really good matchup. And then they would pull on the outside after, Paige to the Rampage. She would kick out of that and even counter the rack attack of Nikki. But then they both pulled on the outside. And Nikki's sister Brie didn't want to do anything. Like she was trying to step aside. But AJ kind of saw that Brie would take an opportunity to beat up Paige. Then bang, AJ would beat up Nikki, sister Brie. They would brawl a little bit. And in the midst of all of this, Paige was trying to calm AJ down. AJ, in the midst of this, did not see who was behind her. I thought I saw her turn her head a little bit, but whether or not intentional or not, she might have thought Paige was Nikki. Elbowed the hell out of Paige. And when she turned around, it was too late. She was in shock as she elbowed her old tag team partner. And Nikki would take advantage of that miscue from AJ, setting up the rack attack and the 1-2-3 victory for Nikki. The other good thing is to set up tension between Paige and AJ. AJ knew, she saw it coming. She said backstage to Paige, it's like, Paige, you know what the Bella Twins are doing? They're setting us up to hate each other, to set jealousy between us. Well, they're playing Rook to perfection as the miscue from AJ miscommunicating with Paige, hitting her inadvertently in the midst of her brawl with Brie, thinking she was Nikki, ended up costing Paige the Divas title match, which led to them having a brawl in the ring. Paige was not happy with AJ. Accident or not, she was still pissed that AJ inadvertently cost her the Divas title. They brawled they brawled in the ring. Referees had to come to break them up. So we'll see if these two can get along. These two are frenemies. I was already questioning their stability to team together. They've been friends, frenemies, and now relationships turn another new leaf again when it comes to tension after Paige got screwed out of the Divas Championship from Miss AJ, inadvertently or not. But it was still a fun match to see. Once again, WWE's doing a good job of getting him longer Divas matches. And it was a great match, though. Great match. One of the best Divas matches the main roster in a while. Fine, WWE's giving him a chance. WWE is giving Divas a chance. And if they keep this up, they could finally get Divas back on the main roster, giving great matches like they should be. They kind of, especially with Charlotte coming up, and a lot of those great NXT Divas probably coming up soon. It's the right time to give the main roster Divas a great chance to put on longer matches, which will make Charlotte and Sasha feel more at home when they go to the main roster. Now on to our next segment, which involved Snoop Dogg. He's been involved in the company before. He's been at Wrestlemania a couple times. I think it was like a guest referee for a match or guest announcer a couple times. I'm glad that he didn't perform like Wiz Khalifa did a couple weeks ago, who he did an album with. So what? We get drunk. So what? We smoke weed. We're young and wild and free. I don't want to. I don't. Music and wrestling during the Attitude Era, it was awesome, but not now though. But Snoop Dogg came out talking about getting ready for Wrestlemania, and then Axelmania came out. This was a fun segment. Axelmania came out saying that you're talking about Snoop Mania, about Axelmania. I'm glad Axel's getting over, but I hope his push doesn't get ended after what happened during this segment. With Snoop Dogg saying, Axelmania? How about this mania? Hulk Hogan came out, Hulkamania. I mocked a little bit. I'm a Hulkamaniac. I was like, wow, it was a nice surprise. It was a nice surprise for Hogan to come out and confront Axelmania. That was it was an intriguing segment. It was a great segment to see. I think we should have known that at some point we were going to see Axel come face to face with Hulkamania during this whole thing. And yes, it would have been awesome to see it at Mania, but it was still awesome to see. It was a funny segment with Hogan and Axel facing notes and notes like Axel's like, you! And then Hogan just nailed him with a big punch to the right hand and Snoop tossed him up the outside. And Snoop had this all bandana onesie on, kind of like a bandana jacket, looked like a bandana. Then he took that bandana jacket piece off and underneath he had a Hulkamania tank top. So I think Snoop's a fan, I've seen celebrity guest spots go badly, like Wiz Khalifa, and celebrity spots that went good, like Jon Stewart a couple weeks ago. I like that. I did like that segment. Same with the Snoop Dogg segment. It was kind of a fun segment with him and Hulk Hogan in Axelmania. I hope they don't end this push with Hogan tossing him off. I hope that Axel does get some out of it. He is in the Under the Giant Battle Royal. I think my WWE Analyst Guide pick could as Axel to win. I need to remember that. I need to watch that podcast again. And you need to watch that podcast too. See me interact with another YouTuber. And on the podcast, we talked about there was a lack of a tag team title match at Mania. At the time, we made it on Friday, and there was no tag team title match yet. But I knew there was some sort of way they're going to have a four-way match for the titles. And I thought it would happen because when the Usos got injured. Well, it's happening. And for the second year in a row, the tag team division is being relegated to the pre-show. And it was a fatal four-way last year. And this year, it's another fatal four-way at the pre-show. The Usos, the knee injury to Jimmy isn't as serious as we thought. They will be taking on New Day, Los Matadores, and Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, which I hope retain the titles because, hey, they've only been champions for a month. I knew that was going to be the setup. I knew they were setting up for a possible fatal four with these four teams because they've been interacting with each other. And I knew that was going to be the eventual route they were heading towards. And that was the route they were heading towards. And I thought they had a speed bump with Usos getting injured, but the injury isn't as serious as they thought. Because I think he was doing an MRI, but I didn't read the result. But apparently the MRI went probably positive because the match is on, a fatal four-way. And it's sad to see the tag team division be relegated to the pre-show. There's so much going on, though, I understand, but still. Can you at least try to get rid of the live performance? You know, once again, music and wrestling don't mix these days. If they didn't have the Blink-182 drummer, Travis Barker, performing with Skylar Grey and Kid Ink, that should have been the tag team titles time. Stupid. It's WWE logic sometimes. You know, the tag team title match gets relegated to the pre-show, yet a fucking performance is on the main show and not the tag team title match. Stupid sometimes WWE booking is. Anyway, when they get it right, they get it right. When they do something wrong, oh, it's a fucking mess. Like this, you know, putting the tag team title match in a pre-show and having a performance instead that should have been given to the tag team title match. Come on. Like I said, music and Attitude Era is awesome. Now it's just stupid. Didn't they learn from Kid Rock and Wrestlemania 25 and all the other music performances like Diddy and Flo Rida? Come on. They still don't learn. But we come back to it anyway, especially putting that one for $9.99. Anyway, we would see the Los Matadores with El Torito take on Tyson Kidd, Natalya, and this is all one of two SmackDown Week matches tonight. Usos were at ringside alongside Naomi watching the match. We didn't see New Day out there, but like I said, they only match Sunday. It was a weird match. It was interesting with the Los Matadores. Basically, it was the guys against the guy and the bull against the woman. Bull against the woman. 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 Making my best animal impression. Who's been on War with the Muppets. Anyway, Cesaro and Kid looking good. Taking care of the Los Matadores. And Tyson tagged in Natalya to take on the bull. Trying to hide behind his wife like he always does. Natty's husband, you know. Anyway, Natty got in the ring. She really had her stuff done. It was kind of a weird matchup. And kind of outmatched as El Torito guy was. You know, he's a little person taking on a woman. It won't end well. No matter who wins. If one of them would pin each other. Which one of them did. And Natalya got some big moves. He tried to do a powerbomb on Torito. But then got the rollover and the win on Natalya. And Tyson was mad at Natalya. And then later on, we would see a shameless cheap plug for Burger King's chicken fries. The chicken fries are back. But Tyson saying, I love you, honey. We haven't seen each other, man. They were like in this room with the little divider. And it was a fucking shameless cheap plug. And then Natalya had one too, and she fell in love too. It was kind of a shameless cheap plug. It was fun, but it was still shameless. But at least they didn't shamelessly plug it like they do the WWE Network every week. So, there you go. We would see Kane take the belt from Bad News Barrett to hang it above the ring to show symbolism for the match this Sunday in a ladder match. Barrett didn't want anyone taking his title. He just got it back after playing hot potato for the title with other guys who are in this ladder match. So Bad News Barrett would have to relinquish it to be hung later on for our main event to show symbolism for a ladder match. But speaking of Match of Mania, we of course got John Cena against Rusev at Wrestlemania for the U.S. Championship. As we see Rusev getting ready for that match in a pre-show warm-up against a man who's had a feud with him before. And one of many guys who couldn't defeat him. Still couldn't. Cena will probably get to that. Rusev taking on Jack Swagger. No time, of course. Swagger, I think, was the only guy that really got close to being Rusev. Really decent matches at the SummerSlam and Night of Champions, the flag match at SummerSlam. So we would see Rusev destroy Swagger. Swagger tried for his big music power bomb. Did counter a few times with baby line. That was cool counters. But then Rusev would come back with his big high kicks. And of course, the accolade and the tap out from Swagger on Rusev. Of course, Rusev, once again, not being accompanied by Lana, who's making a movie. Maybe she would turn the Mania and turn on Rusev. Who knows? But as Rusev, he would not relinquish the accolade, sending a big message to John Cena after that contract signing last week with that weird guy with the glasses thinking he didn't come out. The lawyer guy. Anyways, that accolade was locked on. Here comes John Cena brawling with Rusev. He had the upper hand at first, taking Rusev down on the ground, brawling with him. Until he got knocked into the steel steps and the barricade in front of Rick Rubin, who was there, one of many Hollywood dignitaries, luminaries who were there watching from ringside. And then Rusev just got destroyed. Cena tossed him over the table, and when he hit that chair, he hit really hard on that chair. He got tossed like a rag down by Rusev. And then Rusev would take him down some more until he put him on top of the table. I thought he was going to smash him to the table. That would have been awesome. But I knew he was going to probably set up the accolade on top of the table, which exactly what he did. He had the accolade locked in on Cena, making him pass out like Cena made Rusev pass out a couple weeks ago in the SCFU that made Lana relent to let Cena get the rematch against Rusev. Because Lana knew that Rusev was going to pass out, which he did. So Rusev decided to deliver some combo of his own, making Cena knock out to the accolade like he did at Fastlane as well. And referees were all over trying to break him up. And Rusev was pissed. He was in a rage. So Rusev was standing tall, but when it comes to standing tall, who's going to stand tall at Mania? It's got to be Cena. I predicted Rusev could win, but Cena is the only guy who I think has a better chance of beating Rusev. But I don't want Rusev to lose his momentum. He had so much momentum. I don't want him to lose his momentum after he loses to Cena. Like what happened to Mizdow and Bray Wyatt. Although they got their way back. They found their way back. Especially Wyatt against Taker, which I'll get to in a second as well. So after that, we would see Bray Wyatt come out. Another promo on Taker. Once again, I said it 2 weeks ago, keeping Taker off TV like they did with him and Kane at Mania. He didn't show up before WrestleMania 20 because they want to keep suspense on what he looks like. By the way, people, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Tomorrow, I'm recording this right now at 11:43. This will probably be up after midnight, about 1 o'clock. As you're watching this, probably like midnight, 1 o'clock. It'll be Tuesday morning by the time this video gets uploaded. Because it's slow uploading time because I talk a lot, as you can tell. Today, as this video will be uploaded today on the 25th, on the 24th, it's Undertaker's 50th birthday. Let me say this again. When Undertaker walks in that ring on Sunday, he'll be 50. And he looked weak at Mania. And even if he was in his mid-40s, he still delivered great matches against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. But can he still deliver those great matches against Bray Wyatt? After losing the streak, he's got a lot to prove this Sunday. So Bray Wyatt delivered another great promo about everybody hides behind the mask. Taker, the magic, the aura, it's gone. And he had the lightning and stuff. You don't control the spirits. I do. Because I'm the new face of fear. So it was another great promo from Bray Wyatt. I said this on my podcast with WWE analysts. I hope that Sting and Taker both win the matches. And they both have they still need a match between Taker and Sting. Yes, the streak is over. But they still need to make the dream match still happen. You can't have both guys in a company and have fans beg for that match and not let it happen. It's got to happen. I hope these two have a confrontation backstage to set up for Mania 32. So there you go. Now on to our main event match. Dolph Ziggler against Daniel Bryan. Let me do a little shirt change here. Let me do that again. Our main event was Dolph Ziggler taking on Daniel Bryan. Yes, I feel Daniel Bryan should be in a better match, a higher up match. He's a main event guy in a mid-card match, in an already overcrowded match. But I still like him, though. Yes, he's not in a main event this year, but at least he should have been like in a main event caliber match, like against Sheamus, as rumoredly predicted. But Sheamus isn't back yet. Maybe he'll appear after Mania. Maybe the Battle Royal. Maybe make a guest appearance at Battle Royal, like a surprise entrance. But take it as it is, we have Dolph Ziggler against D-Bry under a SmackDown rematch. This time, we had a referee chosen by the fans between the 5 remaining guys in the match. And the fans voted Dean Ambrose. He was kind of funny. I'm glad he didn't get involved in the match. And it was a pretty good match. Pretty good main event. These guys are like my number 1 and number 2 guys on the roster right now that are really good performers right now. And they put on a really good match. Really back and forth action. It was kind of funny when they both knock each other out of the ring. Right before the first commercial break in the match, you heard Dean Ambrose say, "Get back in the ring." That was kind of funny to go off on that. And Ambrose is kind of a funny referee. And I'm glad he didn't get too much physically involved in the match. I thought there would be like a screwy ending with Ambrose getting involved, screwing one of the guys. But I'm glad he decided to leave the physicality until after the match. And I'll get to that in a second. So, we would see these two just brawl and they have some great counters for each other. And one of the best spots was when D-Bry was being set up by Ziggler. I like that. DB-DZ. It rhymes. Dolph was setting up for some sort of superplex. D-Bry was trying to counter, but then Dolph did like an execution thing off the top. That was kind of a fun move. And then these two would just, go back and forth. Yeah, a super face buster, as they call it. They call it a super face buster that Dolph did off the top. And then D-Bry was coming with some big moves, doing the kicks. And then he was going for the flying knee. And then Dolph nailed him with a super kick. Got on with the zigzag in the 1-2-3 victory for Dolph Ziggler, winning cleanly against D-Bry. And Dolph was giving his hand raised. His hand was raised by Dean Ambrose. And all of a sudden, Dean Ambrose just beat the crap out of him. Dirty deeds. And then he grabbed the ladder. There was a ladder underneath the ring. He was trying to get the IC title belt. Like I said earlier, the IC title belt was retrieved by Kane to hang as symbolism. And I think that News Bear didn't want to give it to Kane because he knew that title belt would be left vulnerable for anyone to grab. Which is exactly what almost happened with the belt being left vulnerable. Dean Ambrose tried to grab a ladder and tried to grab the belt. But then here goes Dean Ambrose's nightmare. Here comes Bad News Bear coming out. And then everybody else came out for the ladder match. R-Truth came out. Harper, Stardust. Everybody came out for a brawl. And it was just a fight to cue up the ladder match. Bad News Bear was delivering ball hammers everywhere. It was just a brawl. It ended up being with Stardust and Ambrose on the top of the ladder being tossed off by Harper. With all the bodies laying to end that segment. I think it was a better segment to hype up that match than the segment that hyped up the main event for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship that would happen right after this. Like I said, I didn't like the ending of this segment, which I explained. As we would see Paul Heyman come out with Brock Lesnar. And Heyman's like, blah, 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 blah. I've been selling this card for the last couple weeks since my client is a part-timer and doesn't like to show up every week. I have to do all the talk, basically what he said. And he's been doing some great promos lately. I've been applauding him on these reviews for the last couple weeks. So we shall see Heyman talking about saying that Heyman said that Reigns can't and he won't. Everyone said the same thing for Brock Lesnar. Everyone thought last year with Lesnar and Taker that Lesnar can't, he won't end the streak, but he did. Everyone did not think that Lesnar could be John Cena at SummerSlam or in Suplex him to hell. They said he won't, he can't, but he did. And he will destroy Reigns no matter where he goes from here. They didn't really address that situation with Lesnar's contract going up. And this promo was just getting Lesnar over like a big thing. And I love when Heyman said that John Cena's not in the main event. Yay! That little pause there. And then Reigns came out. And Reigns got a mixed reception from the fans. And I did not like how this went down. Now, this is like the first big one-on-one between these guys in the ring. We've had an interview between them. But if I'm correct, We've never seen these two face nose to nose until now in the ring to hype up their match at Mania. So I didn't like this. They should have more physicality. Because we saw Brock Lesnar hold the title belt in the air. And then Wade just grabbed it from him. Just grabbed it from Lesnar. And we would end War with these two in a tug of war. That's not a good way to hype your main event before Mania, guys. We should have had some physicality. Like I said earlier, the reason why they had all these tag team matches tonight is to save the chance of injury. They don't want anyone getting injured before Mania. I understand why they want to keep, especially in this main event situation, both guys healthy and not getting any physical altercations to risk injury on each other. You haven't seen these Lesnar altercations don't get physical. Like the contact center between him and John Cena a couple years ago, there was no physical altercation. Lesnar just walked out without getting his hands on Cena. So I should have known they were going to do something like this with Lesnar not getting any physical with Reigns. But they should have. I didn't like that ending, though. It was an odd way to end War with these two just fighting over the belt with weird faces. Like, I had a belt on me somewhere. Anyways, I had a champion. I had like a toy belt that I could like play with and show what Lesnar and Lesnar and Reigns are doing with it, but I don't have it on me right now. You know what I mean? I didn't like that. You know, just these guys should have just brawled. Instead, they were just playing tug of war with the belt to end War. It's kind of a weird way to end it. To hype up your main event like that, to end War like that, was kind of stupid. And I did like Sting's promo. It was still a decent Mania go home show. Like I said, the hype's still on paper. The hype's not as good as it once was because half the guys in the card are part timers. But take it as it is, you had some decent matches with the main event and the Divas match. Once again, continuing the trend of really good Divas matches on Raw. But the last segment between Lesnar and Wayne should have been more executed better. You know, I know it was I know they want to do something different besides the predictable status quo confrontation, but they should have. But just those ties hanging with it's a good photo though. That's the only good thing about the ending was it's a good picture to put on the main page of the website with these two guys just tugging at the belt. That's a good photo to take, but as a segment, they should have got physical. But we shall see how Mania ends up. You know, I said after the Rumble, it's gonna be a long road to Mania, and it's been a long and winding road. And here we are, the end of the road. We head towards WrestleMania Sunday. I think Rollins will still cash in. I've been predicting that since Royal Rumble, so I still think that's gonna hold true. So that's it for my WWE Raw review for tonight. Go home show for me. It was decent. It was okay. It was fun though. It was still fun. Some fun things happened. Especially some good matches. The Hypermania still not as good as it once was last year, but we see how it all ends up. Don't forget, like I said, I'll be making my own review on here Sunday after WrestleMania on this channel. And after Mania at around midnight Eastern Time, I'll be doing a podcast with WWE Analyst on his YouTube channel and the Ruthless Ranter. That's his name. The Ruthless Ranter. So I'll be doing that podcast on WWE Analyst's channel. The link to his channel is in my description. Really good guy. Can't wait to do that with him this Sunday. Invite me again. Thank you again, guy. I'm a gracious guy. So that's it. See you all later. With that in mind, y'all been attacked by the review from Zach. See you later. Yeah.